We as a whole realize not to set up a center finger at a polar bear. We as a whole realize not to tell a dark widow that it has no companions. Would you stick around in the event that you spilled your brew on a gorilla? There are numerous creatures we intuitively realize not to meddle with. Here's a rundown of certain creatures you may not know are risky, net or for the most part threatening to us two-legged pig monkeys. Play with them at your own hazard. 10 animals that use bizarre methods to kill their prey. 10 hairy frogs. Maybe the most metal creature ever, the bristly frog doesn't simply appear as though the sort of land and water proficient that'd be first into the mosh pit at a Slayer gig. However, it has an exceptionally fascinating guard system when it feels undermined. It breaks its own legs. At whatever point these little distraught fellows are being assaulted or gotten by merciless scholars trying to examine them in their local Central African woods, they push a hard prod through the skin of their feet by breaking the knob that sheaths it. Like a non-recuperating Wolverine from X-Men. So for what reason would people not play with them? They aren't risky. All things considered, would you need to be liable for allowing an innocuous little frog to break their own feet in dread? Kindly say no. 1. 9 capercaillies. On the off chance that you were liking appropriating a little egg or two for your dinner, you'd presumably pick a bird like the capercaillie to take from. They're such a grouse, so not that splendid, in addition to their heads pointing upwards, making it look like they're doing a spot of stargazing. In any case, don't be tricked by these fat little beasties' silly look. They'll beat you senseless here and there in the woods. Male western capercaillies show increased territoriality and animosity during mating season, frequently willing to battle any and all individuals, including unfortunate birdwatchers who will close. It appears to be that this conduct isn't all male capercaillies, notwithstanding an investigation that followed conduct in the more degenerate birds, guys known to assault people, led in southern Finland, tracked down that these guys showed testosterone levels multiple times higher than the standard. It very well may be the impact of negative sexual engraving, unusual sex chemical dissemination, or underground capercaillie steroid use in the storage spaces of Finland's avian exercise centers. Okay, the last explanation was fake. 2. 8 moray eels. Going head-to-head with the fisherman fish for the title of the sea's most frightening-looking inhabitant, moray eels are really shocking creatures. They stick around close to reefs and rough pieces of shallow waters, prepared to grab any passing prey. Once in a while, a jumper's hand resembles an accidental shellfish to a moray eel. You can see where I'm going here. With a considerable lot of the 200 distinct species having some unfathomably terrible-looking, needle-like teeth, one can envision that a chomp from one of these dead-peered toward beasts would be very disagreeable. Given that their teeth are masterminded in a retrogressive confronting design, causing a tear-like chomp, and given that their mucus contains 2 kinds of awful toxin that makes red platelets both bunch and at last get annihilated, perhaps calling their nibble unsavory was somewhat of an odd take on the cold, hard truth. Additionally, take a gander at their face. 3. 7 tiger centipede. Chomped by a giant desert centipede. Growing, redness, tingling, conceivable hypersensitivity and tissue corruption. All standard charge for a pinch from a dreadful crawler. So what makes a nibble from the Goliath desert centipede, otherwise called the tiger centipede, any not quite the same as, say, a honeybee sting? The agony. Sweet mother of leniency. The agony. Naturalist Coyote Peterson, incredible name, has become somewhat of a legend in the realm of individuals doing perilous things for the sake of progress by managing the rundown of creepy crawly sting pain index, aka the Schmidt pain index, named after entomologist Justin Schmidt. For what reason is it named after him? Since he did likewise Coyote did, willfully subject himself to a progression of bug stings for the sake of science. Individuals will regularly think about the slug subterranean insect or tarantula petal wasp as the most exceedingly terrible torment providers in the bug world. Not as per Coyote Peterson. This fare totally overshadows all the creepy crawly stings I've taken. To be honest, I accept him. 4. 6 Australian magpies. I don't think about you, dear peruser, however where I'm from, jaybirds are savvy, wonderful birds that will squeeze any sparkling articles it finds to fly back to their homes. Not down under. There, they are a perilous danger. Australian jaybirds appear to have built up a neurotic disdain of people who stroll inside a couple of feet of their home. Therefore, these dark and white blighters have made plans to jump bomb anyone who meanders inside their proximal zone of assurance. Particularly cyclists. This year alone there have been more than 3,000 assaults on people by jaybirds in Australia, with 399 individuals accepting wounds, not simply a hop alarm as they drive to work through the park. 5. Top 10 surreal animals that really exist. 5. Camel spiders. These Middle Eastern monsters are so totally terrible that they have roused metropolitan legends. Alright, so they may not infuse accidental casualties with a neighborhood sedative to utilize their tremendous mandibles to cut coin-sized openings in your middle to tunnel inside and eat your guts from the inside. Yet they are frightening little 8-legged creature that could make some serious trouble for you, one of a chomp and quite a fear. While appearing as though a cross between a Goliath scorpion and an arachnid might be sufficient to send the vast majority shouting for their mom, they do have one bizarre property that makes them all around put on this rundown. They're horrifyingly quick. Possibly not fast enough to get a sensibly fit and sound individual running at maximum capacity, however checking in at a great 10 miles per hour, you better expectation your lower leg stays unstrained. 6. 4. Alligator snapping turtle. Because of an apparently interminable colorful creature exchange, individuals are regularly found possessing some lovely hazardous creatures. When we consider that this huge turtle would one say one is of them, you may think, what? It's a turtle. Short of some ninja weapons and a rodent sensei, they're moderate and charming. Wrong. As indicated by Thomas Coy of Austin's Turtle Page, a site for turtle aficionados and guardians, these massive monsters aren't appropriate for some accomplished controllers. The gator-snapping turtle has quite possibly the most remarkable nibbles in the animals of the world collectively, estimating it at an incredible 1,000 psi, pounds per square inch. They're not to be disparaged. The extraordinary white shark has a chomp power of 625 psi. They may not be comparable to the panther, 1,350 psi, gorilla, 1,300 psi, or a crocodile, 3,700 psi. Yet no one could at any point attempt to give one of these creatures a snuggle. An amicable little turtle, however? On the off chance that you need to give it a go, get ready to say bye-bye to your thumbs. 7. 3. Giant anteaters. These folks are considerably cuter than the turtles. Until you take a gander at those paws. Also, particularly on the off chance that you know how they battle when compromised. Monster insect-eating animals back up, lift their hooks and swipe, leaving anyone sufficiently unfortunate to go head-to-head with these Central, South American creatures thinking, so that's what my guts resemble. In 2010 and 2012 individually, 2 Brazilian trackers were executed by insect-eating animals. The 2 cases provoked caution with regards to the deficiency of the animal's natural surroundings, perhaps showing that an expansion in such experiences might be on the cards. In 2009, an Argentine animal specialist was battered to death while she was inside the walled area with an especially forceful insect-eating animal. The old Aztecs considered the creature a humorous, prankster-like figure, while surrealists like Dali and artist Max Fleischer additionally highlighted the creature's bizarre look. Always remember the paws. 8. 2 assassin bugs. The piece of information is in the name. These bugs are frequently recorded as one of the top creatures that cause human passings. Yet, they're for the most part a disturbance, their chomp is aggravating and irritated. A few animal groups show the grim conduct of wearing the cadavers of their vanquished enemy, connecting the body of the killed bug to their back, which is canvassed in a sticky substance. So how would they slaughter individuals? While most professional killer bugs don't execute individuals, the improperly named kissing bug, Rhodnius prolixus, is an animal type that lives in South America that conveys the parasitic protozoan that causes Chagas illness. The disease influences around 7 million individuals, for the most part in South America, and can prompt genuine heart issues, neurological problems and early death. 9. 1 sloths. We've examined some truly terrible-looking creatures and some sweeties. The sloths of the world will in general part individuals regarding how they are seen. A few groups discover them completely lovable, others discover them dreadful and abnormal looking. Whatever you may consider them, you would prefer not to meddle with a wild example. Is it that, notwithstanding their sluggish developments, each sloth is concealing a switchblade under their hide? Obviously not, however there is something different covered up in their hide. A ton of bugs and hatchlings and parasites and a huge load of corrupt smelled moths, parasites, a smelling green growth and, on one example, around 980 scarab bugs all make their home on the body of this sluggish tree holder. On the off chance that you add this to the way that at whatever point a sloth craps it clears 33% of its own body weight in fecal matter, sloths might be the grossest creature on the planet. On the plus side, that gross green growth may hold a kind of organism that will wind up relieving malignancy. We need to begin fundraising to give sloth scholars garment stakes for their noses.